in to another stitch tutorial, and today we are going to be concentrating on the pike stitch. Now when I say concentrating, this is a pretty easy stitch to do, and I hope that I can show you in a way that you'll understand nice and easily and can give it a go yourself. If you would like a custom hook similar to this, or completely of your own design, please check out the description below for Jelina's Etsy store. Very, very reasonable prices, including shipping. Brilliant artist. Let's get on with the stitch. Okay, so I'm going to do multiples of sorry, wrong words. I am going to do an odd number. We need an odd number for the pike stitch, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, let's do a few more, 12, 13 stitches. No, let's go 2 more, 14, 15 chains. Now for this, it is practically working singles, so please take that into account for the height. We are going to be doing single extended or extended single crochet, and we're going into the 5th from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We're going in for an extended single crochet. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through both. As soon as you've done that, chain 1. Now we're going to skip the next stitch and go into the following. So we're going in for a single extended, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through both on your hook, and do a chain of 1. So again, we are skipping the next chain and going into the following, and we're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1, and yarn over and pull through both on your hook. Now one thing that you'll notice while you are crocheting this pike stitch, the show of posts. Now on the left you'll see a slightly longer post. On the right you'll see a slightly shorter, and that is with every single one of these pike stitches. Now that is important to remember. So there's your stitch, just there. On the left you have a slightly longer post, and on the right a slightly shorter. So that is your stitch. Remember the posts. Remember, you'll need them on the next line. So we've just done a pike stitch, so next we are skipping and going into the following for a single extended, an extended single, and chain 1. Now because you chain 1, if you put the chain over your work, you've worked that next stitch. So we skip it and we go into the following stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 1 to make an extension, yarn over, pull through 2 to make the single, and chain 1. We are skipping the next one and into the following, and the last on this row we're making a extended single like so. So there is our row of pike stitches. When you get to the end of the row, you always chain 3. Now, when I turn over, we're ignoring this stitch here. This entire cluster, as it were, is the pike stitch. We're ignoring that first one and we're looking at the next. Now remember I said about looking at the posts? Just here you can see on the left hand side the longer post, and you can see that on all of the stitches. What we need to do is go with our hook, into that space to the right of the longest post. So ignore, when you pull this apart slightly, ignore this cluster. There's your longest line, your longest post, and we're going into here for an extended single crochet. And we're chaining 1. And the next one, ignore the cluster. There's the post. So in here is where we need to go to make an extended single crochet. And chain 1. Again, ignore that cluster. There is the post. We're going in between the cluster and the post. In we go. Now I'm pulling this apart slightly to make it easier for you to see. On your work it may not be so loose. I am doing this deliberately so that you can see exactly where to put your hook. So again, there's the cluster, there's the long post, and we're going in the gap between the two for an extended single crochet and a chain 1. Now here again, there's the cluster, there's the post, in we go for a single crochet, which is extended, do a chain. Now on the end, this is going to be hard to show on camera, but skip the first and go into the second. So for me, this one here is the first, this one here is the second, so I'm going into there for an extended single crochet, and we're at the end of the row. And if I pull this apart a little bit, you can see the pattern it is creating. So let's do one more row. So we're on the end, so we are chaining 3. 1, 2, 3, and we're turning our work. We are ignoring this first little bit, so ignore that. Now the next one, there's the cluster, there is the long post. We're going between the two into that gap for an extended single crochet and chain 1. Having a look, there's the cluster, there's the long post, in between the two, extended single crochet and chain 1, and do that to the end of the row. Nice and simple. I am going to say that if you are a tighter crocheter, it may be a little bit more difficult to see between the cluster and the post, but that is why I said at the beginning, look for the longer post on your left and the shorter post on your right, because it's the longer post you need, and directly to the right of that longer post, that's where you go in to make the extended single, and then you do your chain. So let me just get the last 2 stitches done for you. Oops. Let's try that again. I'm human, I make errors. And a chain 1. And then I skip 1 chain on the end and I go into the second for an extended single. So always remember, when you get to the very end of your row, when you are left with your, what I call a D, when you've got that bit on the end, just take a look at a bird's eye view and you'll see your V's. If you look at your D, if you open it up like this, you'll see your V's. Ignore the first one nearest your hook and go into the next one to make your extended single crochet. But that just there is the pike stitch. So let's get a stitch marker on there just so it doesn't pull. Remove that out of the way. Hide the tail just for the moment. And there we have our pike stitch. Okay, if it's been of any use to you, please give a thumbs up and maybe even consider subscribing down below if you're willing. Thank you ever so much for joining me. Have a good one. See you next time.